ban as well. Impact mental diff, true. Honor for Tiltproof for Impact that game for sure. I would have been 0-50. Aphelios is going to get banned out. Now the question is, does the Pantheon stay up? And if so, will it be first pick? Because I think that is the one that is kind of conspicuously absent right now.
I mean, it had previously been a LYON ban, so they're the ones that dropped it. Now that they control first pick. So I think they're daring for a Pantheon ban. If they let it through, you would expect him to first pick it.
Especially with Taliyah up, I feel like it's really dangerous to give that over unless you want to disjoint it.
Yunara's open too, though. So that could also be another play with Lulu and Yunara both being available as a combo that they could take.
So it is going to, in fact, be banned away. What's up? That's an enthusiastic wave. Keep going.
Amazing.
Faster. Wave faster. I love it. Well, we're going to see what the answer is going to be, as it is going to be Yunara grabbed up. As you thought it might be, Jatt.
Yeah, very nicely done there by LYON. Will likely to have the strong bottom lane and a hyper carry. Now it's just about making sure they have structure in their team fights. Like this is what the desk talked about. They're expecting a little bit more team fight structure to come out from LYON because they still have been able to play the map very well in all 3 of their games. That one fell apart a little bit because they couldn't find good ways into team fights.
Yep, and it is going to be DARKWINGS on another control mage here, and one that controls space quite well. The mid lane pool is getting thinned up quite a bit, you have to say. When you're looking at champs for Saint, obviously there is champions like Taliyah that are still up and available. Ari that he has played. Aurora and Cassio have yet been to be played so far this series. Impact now bringing out the Sion, maybe feeling with Gwen gone and Bessa gone, some of these champions that you would traditionally kind of have a difficult time against are out, so feels comfortable blind picking it.
Pretty risky, though, with Trundle being available, unless HamBak really wants to play against Trundle with something like Kiana, which is a little bit risky, but just with Viktor, like Viktor Sion Trundle's already a good look.
I agree. It is interesting, though, because I feel like LYON looked completely different with Inspired off of Jarvan and Malphite. You know, he wasn't on that engage, so maybe they're saying, hey, if we take him off a Playmaker, that could be a problem for them. It is going to be the Mundo. We've been seeing Mundo almost exclusively in jungle, but again, it is actually pretty good against Sion in the top lane. You can immune that Q smash with your passive, or obviously tank the ultimate with your passive as well. And it sets up pretty well in that regard. So I do think it's a possible flex pick, but of course, looking at pro, it's almost always going to be going jungle.
Yeah.
I always am now thinking about solo queue picks and how they work, because LYON has showcased that they're willing to do that.
Really interesting. I have a weird feeling that it actually is going top lane for Dhokla against the Sion, only because of what Inspired has traditionally said about Mundo. Like, he doesn't think it's a very good champ. I mean, they lost to G2 when they were playing against Mundo, and he was even saying, like, oh, I don't think Mundo did very much in this game. I'm feeling that's a top lane Mundo.
Yeah, and I mean, it does give over the Trundle to HamBak, so he's going to be able to grab that. And Mundo has a 55% win rate against Sion and solo queue. It's one of the matchups that I really like playing Mundo in, if people do blind Sion, because I feel like you can kind of just scale alongside the Sion and outscale the Sion. And so I think it can be pretty effective in that regard. But of course, Trundle does make that a lot harder. And it also makes Trundle very tanky because he is stealing a lot of these stats away. So Mundo could have some problems there. But of course, Yunara, Lulu, a lot of power. So far, lacking some engage on both sides. Of course, Pillar into the gravity field. These types of things are kind of like pseudo-engage, but not full-on engage, especially not against Yunara, who can transcend oneself, and then you have the dash.
Yeah, you'll need a lot of damage on the Yunara, though, to be able to take down all of that health that they've already stacked up. And I'd say with the Sehen ban, it's another flex ban, technically. It can jungle or top lane, but I think it's a good idea. And also the Vayne ban, so they're knowing that there's a lot of flexibility still being available. Vayne would actually be very good against Sion Trundle, so a good ban there.
Makes a lot of sense, and are dealing with some of these hard engaged champs that they are going to be nervous about. Blitzcrank obviously is a common counter to the Lulu, and they know who he would be willing to play it, especially having a little bit of setup with that Trundle Pillar could make it more effective. And so they are going to be throwing some bans that way.
Yeah, what's left in the bot lane here for Rahel and Huhi to try and match up? Because the Ashe Seraphine's already been spent. A lot of the enchanters are already down. Nami.
Kaisa is available. You can
Melio
play like MF. You could play Lucian. So I do think there's still those kind of picks are up and available. And then you can get more into like Jinx and Zeri and things like that if you want to match scaling with scaling.
Aphelios Thresh.
Aphelios is banned out this one though.
Oh yeah, they banned the Aphelios early, and they banned the Lucian here, so they're trying to limit his options as much as possible. Geez, the Lucian Melio would have been nice right there. I think he might end up going Yeah,
I mean, again,
the Kaisa makes the most sense.
Kaisa, could be
Kaisa
MF.
and engage support.
Yeah, I think it does make a lot of sense. It gives them that hard engage that they need. I am expecting it to be, let's see, what's still up and available? Maybe like a Nautilus. I think Rell or Nautilus would make a lot of sense here, coming through to be able to kind of have that setup and to be able to potentially threaten the Lulu. Aatrox would still not reveal where things are going if they do lock this, because again, it is a flex. We're still kind of under the assumption that it would be that top lane pick. Sylas coming through is actually pretty cool because Sylas can steal the Trundle ult and then ult the Sion, and you can kind of have this like really tanky Sylas as well.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know where this is going. You could do jungle Sylas, mid lane Sylas. It's probably mid lane Sylas here for Saint up against the Viktor. But it'll be revealed. It's not like they're going to be fooling many people when they lock in this last pick.
And then they lock in another triple flex. They lock in Aatrox, and you're like, wait a second.
All right, what are we doing, Azael? Okay, I think it's just Aatrox top, Mundo jungle, Sylas mid.
That would be my assumption as well, but we will find out if they want to get a little bit tricky on us. It's interesting that we're seeing the champions get like flexed around when they haven't locked in their 5th pick on the other side. So I don't know if that is just a visual bug or what was happening there, but they were getting moved around on the right side.
They're just still trading already.
They've
traded
already.
on my screen.
How can they trade before they've locked in? I guess seems like a bit of a chance like bug, but we have revealed kind of where the roles are going to go. And Rell or Nautilus is what I thought, and it is going to be the Rell. Makes a lot of sense. Does give them that hard engage. Yeah. You have the Shattering Strike for the Lulu shields, which is nice as well. And we'll see if they're going to be able to utilize some of their engage, their more kind of traditional front line to be able to knock it down, because Sentinels is playing like pure front to back, right? You kind of have the Kaisa and the Viktor to be able to knock down these frontliners on the other side. I think it's a bit more of a mix.
I mean, I still like Sentinels team fighting later on in this game. Even if Mundo gets super tanky, Trundle can ult him. If Rahel gets fed on Kaisa, that's just a max health shredding merchant. He's going to be able to cut through any super tank pretty easily. But the carry angle from Berserker with the Yunara Lulu is what I think LYON is banking on.
I think that the thing that I'm concerned about for LYON is, I think if their soul laners do well, you can run over team fights. I think if their soul laners do not do well, I think how HamBak will play the fights is he'll just be pillaring Berserker in the back of the fight, and they'll be trying to focus front line. Yeah. And then I think that can become pretty difficult when you have these 3 melee champs getting AoE'd down by the Viktor, hit by the Trundle, hit by the Kaisa. I think that could be tough, but LYON have some strong lanes here. Should have push on that top side, with the Aatrox, and have Berserker on what I believe to be, his most successful style of champion. When I think about Berserker's best games, it's the Zeres, it's the Aphelioses, it's the Yunaras, it's these types of champions where he has an enchanter in his back pocket and he can go crazy in team fights.
I think the enchanter is a really key portion of that as well, but it's just amazing whenever he's able to pull it off. You do have to respect the Rahel Kaisa, though. Every time he's had that, he's had an incredible game as well. So again, still an elimination game for Sentinels. LYON just needs to win one of the next 2 to get into that final against C9, and an early stack on the bot lane, actually.
Yeah, I think they were trying to see, will anyone walk forward? Because then you can have Saint start E, and he could look for a big trade. So you have a little bit of time if you run straight to a lane to try to go for something cheesy, but then you got to get back to mid, because in this new season, the minions spawn so fast. So Saint will be heading right back over there. And no big surprises as far as the runes are concerned. Huhi is going to go for Spellbook, though, so he's not going to be playing Glacial, he's not going to be playing Aftershock, he will be playing Spellbook, so prioritizing the utility. We did see him moving around the map quite a bit on the Alistar with teleports, and being able to have exhaust for some of those big fights was quite valuable. Yeah,
I think they need to hang on a little bit early on in this laning phase. The Yunara, once she gets that Q up, can really be powerful, so Huhi just trying to make sure that Rahel can stay in experience range and get all of the minions.
And these mid lane matchups, when you are playing a melee into the range, just about survival. It's about keeping your health high, not overcommitting for minions that are going to cost you too much HP. So sidesteps the laser, and we'll be able to go forward and pick up a minion or 2 there. DARKWINGS is just basically trying to really punish heavily early to get Saint to a point where he can't threaten all ends.
Yeah, Mundo's not exactly a very threatening jungler early on either, but it is teleport on DARKWINGS, not the Ghost, so a little bit harder to dodge the Mundo ganks. Also important to note, first Mundo gave Inspired's career. So even if it's been kind of in the fringes of the metal, it hasn't been a pick that he's been a big fan of in the past, but as you get deeper in Fearless, it can become more valuable, and he's playing it for the first time here.
Yeah, he's been willing to bring out a lot of different picks. True, Captain Flowers. So what do they do now? We need to find out from Captain Flowers who's going to win. Spoil the script. Yeah. The Skarner worked out.
Send him the tweets.
Quit holding out on us, brother. Well, We'll see how much they can get here in the early game. Looks like that plate almost about to go down, but we'll be able to defend it at least on this wave. But of course, when you are playing this double range bot lane, you are expected to have push. You are expected to be able to get the harass down, and Rahel is going to have to take a very early base. As Saint, maybe overextending, is going to go in with the absconded duck. Uses that level up timing really well. Hits level 4 there and goes in immediately on it, gets a good chunk, gets that wave pushed out. So Saint is going to be pretty happy about things in this 1v1.
You have to be so confident to pull out that play, know exactly when you're going to be hitting your level up timings, but he does it great, manages to last hit all the minions before DARKWINGS is able to burst him, and just effectively trades the first few waves. Now he's got his health crystal with his quick base, and he's forced the TP out of DARKWINGS as well. So the early lane phase actually very well survived by Saint there with that last little play. Yep,
it's dead even. I mean, DARKWINGS is up a couple CS, but it doesn't matter because they got the same buy, right?
Yep.
400 gold buy plus a refillable. So they are dead even as far as that is concerned. In fact, just trying to hold that wave as much as you can. In these matchups, you want that near your tower. Saint goes in for a very nice trade with the Conqueror stacked.
When's the last time we saw an Aatrox actually snowball onto a Sion? It feels like almost every time Sion can get an early bramble and just kind of wait out the lane.
That's kind of how I feel about most Sion matchups, I'm not going to lie. It's kind of the same way I feel about Renekton versus Sion, where often it's you get a nice little CS advantage, you know, you're up 10, 20 CS, whatever. But it's pretty hard to make things happen. Dhokla going to be dashing back, but he's going to be pillared in. Does flash out to safety, so will survive, but that is flash down. Nice little lane gank there from HamBak, who, let's be honest, has been getting outpaced by Inspired in these early games. Inspired has been getting a lot more done, so nice to see HamBak getting involved.
Absolutely. Pillar, pretty strong early gank. Early Sheen as well, probably going towards the Trinity Force for a little bit of damage in these team fights. But this is, you know, this series felt so one-sided after Game 2 was it. And then even portions of Game 3, when they had the Gwen flex pick, we're thinking they're just going to walk their way to finals. I really like the team comp we have on Sentinel side here. Assuming they don't fall too far behind and go, because that can definitely be a fear when you're running such a slow topside like Sion, Trundle, Viktor. But I don't necessarily feel like the Mundo is going to be that good at actually advancing the game. So it would be on like the individuals really in this bot lane to try and advance it, because I'm not seeing the Sylas really forcing kills onto the Viktor, or even Dhokla's Aatrox, especially with no flash, able to get a significant edge onto Impact Sion.
Yeah, I think that really is their point of pressure right now, is that bot lane 2v2. They almost have their second plate down, so next wave they could very likely get that second plate. Berserker going to be scaling really, really well. This is what you're giving up when you're going to be giving over some of these Enchanter champions, and you're going to try to play engage into it. So you're kind of sacrificing that 2v2 more heavily. And of course, Kaisa not the strongest early laner either, so that is definitely a weakness there.
I mean, Inspired burned early smite because he has the next one coming up in 15 seconds, but HamBak would actually be here to think about a steal. Inspired smite still not up yet.
Rahel is pretty far, so it could be a hard fight to take, and HamBak taking a ton of damage as now Saint is coming in. Did he overextend? He goes for the smite. He does not win the smite fight, and now he's going to get knocked down. That's first blood. Huhi looking like he might fall as well. Saint flash forward, got hit by the end of the crash down, so Saint flashed into that CC, unfortunately for him. Can't get the second kill, but I just feel like HamBak went too far.
Yeah.
You don't have your Kaisa there, and he just tried to force his way in.
HamBak kind of lost his mind there. The first Drake is not the hill you need to die on. And he didn't even know that Inspired was without smite, and he still missed it when he flew in. That's probably why he missed the smite, because he's trying to time it so perfectly. But even if he gets it, it's likely that he loses that fight. I will say Trundle gets a huge heal if he successfully smites the Drake, because his passive gives him percent max health from dying creatures, but just wasn't enough, and they end up falling.
There was definitely a weird overforce. Obviously felt like he had a good angle to do it, but yeah, I think maybe just didn't realize where Rahel was in relation to him. DARKWINGS going to be pushing in here through mid. Saint now flashless because he tried to go for that kill. A bit unfortunate how that worked out for him, the timing again. Huhi was already in the crash down. He flashed forward to try to chase Huhi, got hit by the knock-up on the end of that.
Do you want to fight?
Yeah, I want to fight. I want to fight.
Okay.
Come, Sylas, Sylas.
They're gonna fight, okay?
They're gonna fight. Don't Trundle, come, Sylas.
I need a 6. I 6, I'm 6.
coming, yeah.
I'm going. Victor is here, here 6.
Focus him.
I Thunder.
Yeah.
I'm looking Thunder, guys. Look Thunder. Nice. I'm looking Thunder, give me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't give you.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, really clear comms there. Honestly, from both sides. HamBak was clear that he wanted to fight, but they just weren't in position to fight and needed to call that one off.
And his Q smite go out to 59, so that's frustrating. You know, one more auto coming in at the same time from someone else might have meant he gets that. It wouldn't have got him 6, he still needs a lot of experience, but would have got him that passive heal, maybe give him at least a chance to fight back in that fight. Unfortunately for him, though, it is Inspired who walks away with that. Obviously gets the experience there as they may be looking for Berserker, but Berserker just kiting it back and buys enough time for Isles to arrive.
Yep, has all his summoners also heal on Isles, who he doesn't want to go for an all-in. Was hoping to probably just reach for a quick stun and get a little bit of poke. And still need to play this lane very carefully, especially as Isles approaches level 6. That would be a ton of health to burn through.
It is a lot. Dhokla going to look for the knockup. They trade knockups. Nice little grass proc back there from Impact.
Yeah, I'm looking at this solo lanes, though. The state hasn't changed since the Drake fight. So even though it was a nice little gold infusion for Inspired getting that kill and getting that first Drake, the state of these lanes are still relatively difficult for this LYON team to play. Aatrox into Sion and the Sylas into the Viktor, who's able to just keep the wave pushed.
It's pretty difficult for sure, but Inspired going to get accelerated. He almost has his Heartsteel already because he got First Blood, he got the Dragon, and not only that, because the enemy jungler was dead, he got the follow-up scuttle, right? So got a nice injection of gold here, and especially if it is a scrappy game, early Heartsteel can make a big difference. Sometimes it doesn't do anything, and you see them on 10 stacks 20 minutes later, but it can be pretty powerful if you have a scrappy game, and Inspired moving out towards that top side as he spots HamBak.
Yeah, and this is a game where Inspired would like to force a lot of skirmishes. That's why he starts the Drake. He wants to be able to fight with this Aatrox Sylas so they can kind of get out of these lanes where the Sion and the Viktor are able to hold steady. But with the Viktor having shove, he's able to move over and assist HamBak, and Inspired goes back to farming his Krugs.
Rahel down here in the 1v2 for now, but huhi is on the way and has been spotted. Another chunk of damage down on that turret as Berserker and Isles continue to build their lead, but Rell has done a good job withstanding the storm. He's dead even as far as the CS is concerned. Yes, they've lost a couple of plates. Yes, they're about to lose a third, but given the matchup, I think he's doing a pretty good job.
Absolutely. Grubs, I know you're mentioning, very useless. They don't really seem to do anything. You pick them up when you have nothing else to do.
Yeah, they are a lot weaker for sure than in previous seasons. I mean, it's something, but it's definitely nowhere near what it used to be, where people were willing to throw the whole game for Grubs. Where if people got 2 sets of Grubs, it just felt like, well,
oh my God,
now we can't do anything.
Now they get 1 set of Grubs. You're like, well, that's neat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because the crystalline overgrowth does so much of the turret damage in the game anyway. It's all about like the timing of your turret pushes rather than the Grubs doing anything super meaningful.
Absolutely. In fact, gonna get chained up and pulled back as Saint is moving down. We'll spot this ward. Wanted to potentially threaten a move down towards that bot side, but not really going to be able to find it as Rahel, again, just constantly using these base timings. That is one of the big changes that have been kind of quietly making a huge difference in this season is the home guards change, because you get back to base so much more quickly. It's harder to punish these recalls. In this case, Rahel will stay around. As you can see, the Mastercard Power Spike Inspired completing his Heartsteel, as we had mentioned, thanks to that early injection of gold.
Gonna go look for someone to stack Heartsteel on as soon as he completes it. Runs into the enemy jungle. Please find a Trundle.
The amount of dopamine that you get from a Heartsteel stack, you cannot place a value on that, you know?
Doesn't matter. It's not
to be.
It's not about the gold or the damage. It's about the dopamine.
Exactly. And they are going to be able to grab this dragon here. So 2 dragons early on to LYON. And that is going to feel really good as they're going to be stacking up pretty early. But 2 of the powerful souls are going to be kind of off the table because Hextech is gone and Ocean is going to be gone. So we'll see what it is going to be. I will say Chemtech is a lot better this game, though, for LYON. And it is going to be Chemtech. So generally, you're pretty unhappy about that. But when you have Lulu, when you have Mundo, when you have the healing from Aatrox and from Sylas and everything, it is more powerful than normal.
Yeah, not bad, absolutely. So, bit of an early swap by Sentinels as well before the lane quests had completed.
Double Arcane Storm coming out there as they trade the ultis as Saint goes in with the hijack, steals that away, but DARKWINGS able to answer these trades pretty effectively. huhi, though, flash forward with the Shattering Strike. In comes the damage from HamBak. The Ignite grabs the kill. huhi, it's these kind of angles that make you want him on the engaged champs.
And that's what happens with the early lane swap. So even if last season you're very used to these bot lanes roaming through the jungle, you're just not used to having a support jungle have a chance of being there this early in the game. Just a bit of a mental lapse there by Saint. I think he was so focused on that trade he had with DARKWINGS where they both spent their ultimate, had forgotten that Sentinels had swapped early. So mid lane, as you can see, the only role quest is completed. So they're slowing down their role quests by pulling off that play. They didn't actually get anything top lane directly off of it, but now I feel like that kill mid was a direct consequence of swapping early.
Nicely done. You can see Isles moved in, got a little bit of vision down, a couple of wards in the enemy jungle, as huhi was able to use that Spellbook Ignite to great effect on that bot side. And it's just kind of a slow move forward here towards this next dragon, where Sentinels are going to have to see, have they scaled up enough? Dhokla going to pop the World Ender just to try to run away. Looks like he has the move speed and the health to do just that. Inspired is here behind him, so no chance of a chase down kill here onto Dhokla.
But still making it so Dhokla won't be able to play aggressive elsewhere. Burning the World Ender for the Sion ultimate is a happy trade for Sion. He's just going to reset anyway, get a Sunfire Cape, and then move back into the top lane. So just re-swapping back into that lane, keeping this thing mobile. HamBak?
Yeah, stolen away on that ultimate, but obviously no chance of actually chasing down and killing off Saint. So just wanted to defend the tower and is able to do that. Impact arrives back from base here with the Sunfire completed. Berserker going to transcend oneself. He's going forward onto DARKWINGS, getting some good damage down, but the Arcane Storm traded back, and DARKWINGS kind of comes out on top despite the 1v2. Handles that really well and is going to push Berserker back to base.
DARKWINGS is really good on his picks. The Anivia was super solid. I'd say the Syndra would have been fine, except for the Malphite being on his screen the entire game.
Pesky Malphite.
But now, at this state in Fearless, when the enemy team doesn't have really great ways of closing the gap onto his Viktor,
Mundo engaged, not as impactful.
everyone just kind of has to run face first into him.
Yeah.
You get the move speed from your Viktor Q. You can throw down the gravity field, send lasers without interrupting your running animation at all. DARKWINGS is looking to have another good game.
Huhi pushing forward here. Of course, no damage there with him to threaten Saint, so Saint will just back it up. Is going for the Roa build here, so a little bit slower. You see a lot of Rocket Belt these days, but Roa, of course, has its own merit here. More of that kind of slow scaling style, and LYON is playing that sort of a game. It feels like they are looking to just scale. You're playing Yunara alongside that Lulu. You have the Mundo who wants to scale. It's a lot of champions who are happy for this to just go slow and steady. And if LYON don't like the angle for the team fight, they don't need to take it, because they can just continue getting experience, continue playing for that late game, where I think they can be pretty effective, even though Sentinels has some good scaling themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to be really interested to see what these late game team fights look like, because this doesn't look like a game that's going to break itself open early. More attention being sent towards Dhokla. He does have flash, and he's got a lot of backup behind him.
Yeah, they're all coming in here. I think Sentinels have got to get out of there. HamBak has got to run. Flashes early, but is going to get knocked up, and the wild growth there as well. Subjugate comes out. In goes Inspired, flashing over the wall. He gets pulled back. HamBak is going to fall. Sentinels bit off more than they can chew, and they pay for it as LYON does come in. But now in goes DARKWINGS. He just blast coned way too far. Immediately has to flash out to safety. The Arcane Storm was thrown down. I wonder if he realized that was an amped up blast cone, not a baby blast cone there, because he just got blasted in the middle of his team.
Yeah, that
lost the flash.
That looked insane. DARKWINGS flying into the middle of the team after a lost fight. Big play there actually by LYON. They're going to get a ton off of this, especially with Drake being up in 40 seconds. Burning the Trundle Flash, who's just sitting on Trinity Force, is going to give him that inside track onto Soul Point. Not to mention, DARKWINGS has to teleport top after this, since they'd spent both soul laners bottom lane, don't want to give up that top lane turret. It's going to be likely a big play for LYON. Yeah, watching this one more time, I understand why they want to go for Dhokla, playing aggressively in the lane, but they didn't see them until now, when it's kind of too late and HamBak needs to flash probably the thicker part of the wall and get under turret if he wants any chance of living. Once he doesn't do that, the Sion ultimate doesn't even interrupt because of the Mundo passive.
I think he flashes right there, he just lives.
I think so, if he flashes the thick part.
Exactly, you just flash that.
And this was a little comical.
Yeah. It goes a little bit too far.
Even if it's a small blast cone, it's still going to put him like right here.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Unlucky, the stun got in his eyes on that one, so is going to lose his flash, and Berserker completes his second item. Now going to be really strong here with the Fiend Bolts. Now you have that plus the Kraken, you pop the ulti, and your upfront burst is incredibly high if you can get access to these carries.
That's an amazing power spike for this third Drake. Sentinels might not want to give up Soul Point, but they might have to, because this is the type of fight that can blow the game wide open for LYON.
Back to TPing down. Saint has just gone back to base, has a teleport of his own. Berserker pushing mid, so Sentinels do have inside track here, but now in comes LYON. The question is, can they get in? They are missing the flash on the Mundo. He's going to get pillared out. They do secure the Dragon here. The Impact needs to run. He's just getting peppered away at by Berserker. They won't be able to find anything except some damage on the mid lane turret, so they deny some minions here, and they are going to get a plate or two mid lane, maybe even the whole tower. We'll see.
They might get the whole tower. Really interesting there. I feel like LYON didn't need to go push that mid wave. I know they've often traded turrets and gold, but
here comes the dive. Impact going to be setting it up. The World Ender pop there by Dhokla, but there is just too much CC. No shot for Big Dokes. He is knocked down, and it's going to be a trade of towers there at the very least for Sentinels.
Yeah, that's a great sequence for Sentinels. It's a trade of turrets, it's a kill over to them, it's the Drake over to them, and that's all when Yunara is on one of the best spikes that she's going to find in this game before Rahel is able to complete his second item. They're even getting a bunch of damage down onto this tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, Rahel is sitting on 1,700 plus gold, so he has a lot of gold, and he's going to be able to get this tier 2 tower. He's going to be pretty damn near his full second item at this point. Of course, went for the tier 2 boots earlier, so that is why, even though the gold was close, the items looked so different, as Saint going to be pushing on that top side. So LYON just trying to play the map, but again, they don't have a lot of hard engage tools, and Sentinels was very successful with that. Saint has the stolen ultimate with the hijack. Can he get away with it? That is the question, because huhi is coming up here. Impact's trying to stay ahead of him. Saint just going to pop the ulti and get out to safety.
Still having to burn his ultimate there. Impact just a brick in these side lanes. There's a chance we're going to see the game 5 here with the reverse sweep angle when it was looking like LYON was going to run away with this one. Sentinels.
Ooh.
Giga Blast Cone helps huhi. They're barely making it over. But Sentinels not going down without a fight. They're really justifying that early, that high seed they had going into the playoffs. The fact that they beat DSG to make themselves a top 3 team. And now, looking quite competitive here against LYON.
They really are. I mean, they won the last game. If you think all the way back to that first game, they did get Soul. It felt like the game stabilized, then they instantly lost. That is one, now that the games are getting a little bit closer, they're really going to be wanting back, as DARKWINGS will be able to knock this down. Going to TP down towards bot side to try to defend this tower, but he is very alone down here, so we'll see if LYON do want to come down. Dhokla's just trying to force this tower down. DARKWINGS is clearing out the wave, but won't be able to do it in time. The tower does get traded. huhi here to cover, so nothing more than the trade of ults and the trade of towers.
DARKWINGS is scaring me a little bit this game. He had the one nice play on the Viktor. I'm like, he's really good on his picks. And then he blast cones into the middle of the team, teleporting to dying turrets in the middle of Aatrox. But he's still deathless. He's still technically 20 CS up on his opponent, but definitely playing with fire a little bit.
Yeah, he is feeling confident for sure, but again, no real engaged tools. Sentinels has the ability to start the fights. And Rahel kind of quietly farming away here. Does have that Rage Blade completed now. huhi on the Zeeks. We're seeing the first support items coming through as well on the other side. Dhokla, if he gets spotted, is going to be potentially in trouble here. Inspired's in the area. Dhokla has no ult, has the flash, but I don't even think it's worth using. The exhaust comes down. They're going to commit the Magnet Storm. He is out of there.
But I mean, look at the waves for the rest of the team. It's not like LYON is getting anything out of that. So that was just a nice overload by Sentinels. They had a huge amount of tempo to spend, and Dhokla was really pushed too far up without cover. Again, this Aatrox and a Sion is looking less and less effective. He's not even necessarily against the Sion at this point, but wasn't able to get an advantage on his own, and now is just kind of fodder in these side lanes.
He's going to be struggling for sure. Easy to pick off in the solo lanes if you are up too far, don't have a tower behind you, and there's no towers at all in that bottom lane, right? They lost the tier 1 and the tier 2, so can be tough, as Impact going to be clearing out some vision here. We're looking at a minute about until that next dragon will spawn. Sentinels would love to set up for and try to find that fight once again here. And we'll see if LYON can be there first. I really think it is so imperative that they are there first to not allow Sentinels to control vision and try to find these angles for huhi, who's going to be looking for the engage.
Yeah, completely agree. Couple items to point out, though. We got some healing reduction on Berserker. I also like the Boots of Swiftness on Impact Sion, because the only real engages are slows. So as a frontline, being able to disengage and not get locked down is important.
HamBak does proc the Mundo passive there with his pillar. Inspired taking quite a bit of damage. It's 35 until the dragon does spawn. We'll see if he wants to go back to base or not. Both top laners are moving down. Just a trade of damage here as DARKWINGS coming out pretty heavily on top. Berserker knocked down to about a little bit over half HP. I feel like LYON are going to give off that.
Yeah, I mean, DARKWINGS' hit rate on these Viktor lasers is really high, and it's because he's against such a short-range team. Like, he can really walk up pretty close to get almost an instant hit on his E when he wants to. So they're winning every, like, eye contact fight in lane, and that just allows them to get full control of River here. It'll be really difficult for LYON to retake this space, but Berserker based with the home guards made it all the way back, and they're moving in with Herald.
He is very far ahead of the rest of the team, though, and it's just going to get pillared, blocked out there by HamBak. Impact is on the side, but will be able to avoid the chains. Saint trying to create some space, steals away the subjugate. Will he go in? Inspired pushing forward. It's going to be secured, though, by HamBak. And Saint is getting focused down. Even with the subjugate, it doesn't matter at all who he goes in for the engage. Rahel flying into the back line, trying to take them down. Inspired falls. Isles is next. Rahel is on the hunt. Berserker is running, but he's got nowhere to go. It's a double for Rahel. It's Sentinels taking control of game number 4.
And that's the Drake and likely the Baron. No smite, no mid, no AD carry, and a fed Kaisa Viktor for Sentinels.
Sentinels going over for the Baron here. It was all talk about LYON, about how good they had been about in the lower bracket, about if they were going to sweep this series, but Sentinels clawed it back from the brink of defeat early on in game 3. Now in game 4, looking like they are in full control. Isles is coming over here. Not going to be able to get it with the Glitter Lance. That is Baron. That is 2 dragons in a row. That is an over 3,000 gold lead in full control for Sentinels.
And they have so much range as well as good trigger pull in this team fight. You could see LYON a little bit of desperation trying to brute force their way in, but everyone's so short range and Berserker can't find a good angle. Saint ends up going melee range, is just one shot. Inspired can't go in. Huhi finds a beautiful engage. Rahel flies in over the top to help get the last hit onto Inspired. And then sure you have Yunara Lulu, but he ain't taking down all those people.
And look at this. Mundo just got one shot. Couldn't even get his ult off.
Yunara the flash. Mundo. Yunara 볼 사람.
Huhi's hyped.
He's
That's some
very
shot
hyped.
calling right there. There's not the calm comms we saw from LYON earlier in the game. Sentinels is really in it right now, from 0-2 and a deficit in game 3 to 1-2, looking to force game 5 with Baron pushing mid.
This is a team it felt like everyone, myself included, was kind of writing off in this finals weekend. The expectation from every person I talked to was that whoever wins between TL or LYON would come up and be able to smack down Sentinels. And Sentinels clearly putting up the best fight yet. Inspired here. They face check. HamBak going forward. They do have him pillared off. Not going to be able to chase in for a kill, but the Mundo got first down last game, and that is the danger. They have a lot of CC, and that subjugate makes him so much more squishy.
Yeah, just rewatch that fight. Again, that was a very nice CC lock, but a lot of stuff flies through. Silence, the Viktor W, the Rell CC. Inspired likely could have pressed ult early, but he didn't want to be inefficient with it and ended up just dying. And look at this gold lead just kind of exploding here to being 4,000. And it feels like the scaling is on the side of Sentinels with their current power spike points, because Yunara was on 2 items like 2 Drakes ago, still feels like she's on 2 items.
It is, yeah. I mean, Yunara is going to have a lot of damage, but doesn't matter if you can't get access. You can't set the fights, and there's the dive coming in onto Berserker. Berserker's in trouble. Shattering Strike does connect. The Polymorph, though, buying some time, but it doesn't matter. Huhi may fall, but Rahel has killed off your carry. Dhokla trying to come in. Rahel looking to try to run out the side. Inspired arriving. Saint going to be TPing back into the team. The chain will pull back Rahel. He has got to get out of there. Saint is coming in, flashing forward. Abscond, abduct, 900 gold, shutdown. He wants more, but he will not be able to get it for now. Inspired, though, chasing in behind them. Can they wrap around and get even more here? Sentinels have got to try to fight their way out. Impact moving through Inspired, but he is constantly getting slowed. He is going to be going down. He's got to just accept it. DARKWINGS will make it out, but it is a couple kills there for LYON as an aggressive dive from Sentinels does get a bit punished.
Yep, HamBak made a business decision there, throws down the pillar, says, farewell, Impact. I do not want to die as well. And I'd say the whole beginning of this play, it's a nice look to try and kill the Yunara, but I thought it was a really good polymorph from Isles, which delayed the kill long enough that everyone could catch up to Rahel. So just a nice job there by LYON to capitalize that. And the gold going over to Saint does give them a bit of an angle to have a second carry that can help them out of this deficit.
It does. Flashes, though, were spent. You know, big flash going to be used by Saint. And you can see now the Seeker's there on Rahel, so he's going to be that much more difficult to take down. Will have his flash available here in about 45 when that dragon spawns. It would be their 3rd in a row if they're going to be able to get it. And DARKWINGS is closing in on his 3rd item. You know, 3rd item's been complete for Rahel for a while. They are scaling up a lot, but Berserker does still have 3 items, even though it is a cheaper build. He's down in gold. Yeah. His damage cannot be ignored.
Definitely not, but I gotta say, Dusk and Dawn on Kaisa here, really important. Just the ability to proc that passive over and over again onto Inspired, who's gonna be hitting level 16 on Mundo. You're gonna need a lot of damage to kill him if he's able to get a good ult off in team fights.
And they're going to have a lot of damage with Subjugate, with that damage coming through from him, from the Viktor. They don't have any consistent heal cut, really, so yeah, there's a Bramble, but Mundo's not going to be autoing the Sion, so you are kind of reliant on the Ignite spellbook that they do have right now for huhi, so that is big for one fight.
Yeah.
And they're just going to give this one up. LYON not going to be looking to fight it, going to look to try to maybe get towards Infinity Edge for Berserker, hope that they can do that in the next 5-6 minutes, and maybe look to fight another day.
Berserker has carried many games like this, from even gold. If he's the one that's fed, he can make it happen. But Rahel's Kaisa just has more gold, right? There's going to be a lot of fights here, potentially, where if any CC reaches Berserker, Rahel's going to try and fly in for an execute onto Berserker specifically, and then they'd worry about the super tanks later. Going to be really interesting to see how these last few minutes of this game play out.
There's just so much threat on Berserker. It's really hard for him to get a fight where he's not threatened by, some sort of CC or pillared out or having a big tank in his face, where Rahel is going to get to be able to hit carries. And Impact is looking like a brick wall over there on the side. Yeah. Tanking that damage from Berserker like it is nothing.
Even just the Viktor poke has been hitting Berserker. Like those E's smacked him, then the Kaisa W, that was through the Lulu shield. He has a lot of lifesteal now that he's going to be able to get it off the wave. But if you're in the river and that happens, it's going to make you not want to walk in deeper into the river for the fight.
And look at top. This is what they were waiting for here as the supers were coming through. They are going to take a reset, though, so not going to be able to really do anything with that pressure from those super minions. But they have controlled vision on that bot side jungle. Now they're going to start setting up around the Baron here. That's spawning in 30, and that will be the target that Sentinels are looking for here. Taking away the jungle, farming up as much as they possibly can, and looking to put the finishing touches on this one.
Yeah, as much as we said that the Chemdrake is good for LYON, I don't know if the Quadra Chemdrake is that good for Sentinels, so they're getting a little unlucky with this roll, but let's see if they can make something happen. Huhi actually just blast goes to safety, and they're still setting up vision, probably waiting for this Baron to spawn.
Definitely not the one they would have wanted, but every soul does something, and you have a lot of tanky members, so the durability is always going to be somewhat useful, but Sentinels fully controlling vision on the top side and are going to be able to take away that red buff there for HamBak and Rahel. And now the Baron has spawned, so now it's time to try to close off those lights, clear out the vision, and threaten these engages from huhi. And they're just going to start the Baron immediately.
It's on vision. They're going to clear that out soon, you'd think. HamBak, yeah, just clicks the ward, forcing LYON to come in.
And Dhokla's going to be spotted on the side. Impact trying to zone out Berserker, who is getting some damage out, but HamBak is just forcing down this Baron. Inspired's going to get pillared out. Will he try to flash in and steal this? He's sitting at the wall, can't actually get in to do it, and still the Sion has not been hurt at all. Darkwings pushing forward, Inspired trying to get something done, but he is being crushed right now by Rahel. HamBak, though, being focused down by Berserker. Flash in from huhi, but it's a flash out from Berserker. The Shattering Strike does land, but I don't know if it matters. The Killer Instinct from Rahel is just used to run, but Darkwings now going to be arriving on the side with the Arcane Storm. Impact incredibly low, but still damn tanky. Saint goes forward with the Abscond Abduct. He wants more, but can he get it? The Baron has been taken, but will they lose the kill? Saint goes in into the stasis now under the tower. They're going to look to try to finish him off, but he retreats back. He survives for now. The Lulu shields and the peels will keep him up. They lose a couple members, but they secure the Baron. That was a close fight.
What a close fight. Berserker is so good. He played this fight incredibly well. It ends up being a bit of wash. The gold from the Baron is equalized by the 2-for-1 in the actual team fight. So the way this works is Impact tanks Berserker for a while, but Berserker's very patient with when he actually uses his ultimate to try and fly in. So watch how many people try and kill Berserker down here. Flashes perfectly from the huhi ult, turns it around, kills him, goes straight on to HamBak, forces that flash away, turns on to Rahel, pushes him out of the fight, and then they get the extended kill onto Impact as Rahel pushed that bottom wave. But that's Berserker, now with Infinity Edge, trying to take LYON over the line in this series.
Berserker looking damn good in that fight. As you said, has the IE. That is a big spike here. See that Sorcery Elixir in the pocket for Rahel, but Rahel in a lot of trouble. He's going to get CC'd up and knocked down. He is dead, and that could be a disaster. Sentinels need to run here. Impact has arrived, but HamBak has got to get out of there. Berserker and Inspired trying to chase him down. The Mega Blast Cone will keep him safe. A minute on this Dragon Spawn. Darkwings is going to TP out, but I don't think huhi is going to be so lucky. And if huhi dies, they can just delay the death. They can just stop him from recalling. Just delay the death, make it so he's not going to be there, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Don't burst him down. Wait as long as you possibly can, and make it so he won't be alive for the Dragon. That could secure them the next Dragon. That is a massive pick onto Rahel. huhi can do nothing. That's what they're doing, playing for the timers.
Yep, lots of gold injection, but more importantly, will likely deny that soul. LYON knows exactly what to do to delay that death onto huhi as long as possible. You could see Sentinels was also calling it out after the mistake, pushing the mid and top wave as much as possible. They had Baron buff as well, so it's not like LYON could win the game off of that by some mid push, but it's definitely extending this game, and it's the comeback now for LYON in Game 4.
I mean, there is no engage on the other team, but you still have to pay a little bit of respect.
That's crazy.
I mean, Rahel just didn't pay any respect whatsoever. And you let the Mundo get melee range on you and then knocked up by the wild growth. The CC was enough to be able to burst him down. He couldn't get the killer instinct off, didn't use the flash.
Yeah, as much as Yunara Lulu is good, don't sleep on Lulu Mundo. That very big Mundo goes really fast towards you, and he's going to chunk you down.
And Mundo is level 17 now, so has the max rank, of course, of that max dosage, which is way more powerful than the previous ranks. And Sentinel's going to be pushing up both top and mid, looking to put pressure onto this tower, but do still have to be a little bit careful as huhi isn't with them quite yet.
Yeah, so Baron buff just wearing off. Very ineffective Baron for them, slight lead. And unless another crazy fight like that last one happens, they're playing very aggressive actually, considering what just happened.
The Exhaust is used on him as well as the Arcane Storm. They want to push him back and try to finish off this tower. We'll see if they can do it. A lot of tools used though onto Berserker, down to about half HP. He did transcend oneself, so use the ultimate, and he's going to have to run back to base to heal. Sentinels now pushing into the base, still feeling confident here. How far will they go? They get the mid lane inhib. Now, a little bit of split calls it felt like there, as some were walking back towards mid, the others going up towards top side to try to finish off the second inhibitor.
I mean, what a weird game. They just brute force their way in, 5v5, and clear 2 inhibitors. That's going to
look at Saint. He can use the blast cone. He can use the blast cone with the stolen ultimate, but it's going to have to be used for a retreat here. Dhokla popping the World Ender, going to get CC'd up. HamBak needs to run as he's getting hit over the wall. HamBak is going to be back down to half HP, still has the subjugate. Sentinels retreating here. They're slowly getting whittled down. They got to use the blast cone. Someone hit it by accident, I think. They're going to try to turn on to Inspire, but they're in a lot of trouble. Saint's in the middle of the whole team. Rahel trying to survive. Into the stasis goes Saint. Saint, though, going to be knocked down. DARKWINGS does kill him off. Impact flashes out. huhi flashes forward, but he's going to be knocked down by Berserker. Berserker is untouched, and LYON is going to want more here. Sentinels will not give it to him. All right,
the super
who's
cones,
the suspect here?
The super blast cones are out of control this game. Nearly throwing away the series, unless, I mean,
who's the imposter?
It's kind of a cool
Jatt,
pick.
Arrest somebody.
I mean, if it's a carry down there, was it intentional?
I think it
might
was
have been
Rael.
intentional.
Wait, Impact. Impact is guilty.
He's an engaged.
Arrest that man.
He's an engaged champ at heart, man. He just saw the angle. They technically got the kill off of it.
Technically.
If huhi doesn't re-engage, it ends up being a 1 for 0.
And they did get the flash with that re-engage as well. Berserker so quick on the flashes there. Definitely think that was a clear accident, unfortunately for them, but it is a trade of flashes.
We're checking the comms after. I mean, at 90%, but if it was a plan, that's one crazy plan.
It was a plan, it was a bad one, but it might have been a plan. We'll see, though, if they're going to be able to close this one out. It is a 1K gold lead. We are very, very even. Sentinels, this last couple minutes, feels like are taking their foot off the gas a little bit. Couple mistakes here and there. Rahel gets caught mid. Kind of accidental blast cone there. They're losing a couple of these fights here, and LYON are getting stronger and stronger. You can see Berserker closing in on his 5th fully completed item, not counting the boots. He is very, very strong. Saint has had that death cap now for a while. And these carries are threatening if they can get access to Rahel, who has no summoners critically.
Yeah, I mean, Isles is actually working up towards Dawncore. That's a pretty big power spike for Lulu as well, if he's ever able to get to that. But Sentinels trying to keep the tempo of this game up because they're down. They've downed 2 of LYON's inhibitors. There's someone that has to clear that top wave, which is Saint, and Sentinels is getting that Baron very low.
Inspired trying to walk in, but he's just getting rocked right now by DARKWINGS. Has to pop the max dosage in the midst of those 3 members. There's still eyes on the Baron trying to finish it off. Saint's gonna go into the middle of the whole team. He's in onto HamBak. The fight is on the other side. Berserker's in trouble. Berserker has no flash, and Berserker is gone. Impact pushing forward. Rahel's gonna be killed off as well. It's up to DARKWINGS. DARKWINGS is the only damage they have remaining. The max dosage has expired. huhi's gonna fall. Impact's in trouble on the side. He's gotta try to run. HamBak throws down the pillar to try to peel for him, but it won't be enough, but their base is dying at the same time. They get another kill there. It is not even the Baron because they peeled off it, so it's just the one fight there from LYON.
I think they peeled off of it too early, and this could probably lead to a LYON Baron regardless. They are down 1 Nexus turret. That Baron was very low when Impact and huhi saw the angle onto Berserker. Clearly their plan was to bait and one-shot Berserker, but the sustain of the Aatrox Sylas Mundo, if Rahel goes down, Sentinels just does not have enough damage to take them, and now these death timers are so long, it's probably going to be a Baron for LYON, and they might even be able to move down towards the Soul with this Baron buff. This game is crazy, Azael.
It really is, and I feel like had Rahel stayed on the Baron for 1 or 2 more seconds.
Like, literally 1 more second.
I
The
think
Baron
1 more
was free.
second. I think it would have been theirs, guaranteed, and then they could have tried to take the fight or disengage from it. But, you know, they hard engage, Rahel tries to join, and here it is one more time. It was a bit of chaos.
Yeah, I mean, we can't even see the Baron health, but it was extremely low. I'm going to check it after. It's because they had the CC on a Berserker, they thought they'd get him, but it takes so long to kill him. And then Rahel is actually stuck down here with no flash, and he just gets one-shot by the Aatrox and the Mundo. But this Soul is up for grabs.
This could be the game right here. It could potentially be the series if LYON is able to win out. Look at Saint on the side, trying to find a flank angle. Dhokla going to be stunned up there as huhi threatening for the engage. HamBak pillar over on a Saint, pushing him back now. DARKWINGS trying to get the damage down here onto Inspired, who is down to about half HP but has the ultimate available. Flash still not up for either of these AD carries. Dhokla in the back of the pit tanking some damage as huhi's going to Hex Flash over. Will he engage onto Saint? Has the Blast Cone, could look for an angle, but use it to rejoin the team as DARKWINGS and Impact are getting poked down. They're losing this poke battle for now. Saint tried to flash over the wall. Looked like he flashed into the wall there, and now the fight breaks out. Dhokla's in the back line. Dhokla's knocked down. Saint could be in some trouble. The Chem Soul was taken, though, by LYON. It's up to Rahel. It's LYON piling through. It's Berserker in the midst of everyone. Gonna get stunned, but Berserker stands. Berserker fires. Berserker wins, and LYON have taken the series. They've knocked down Sentinels. They've claimed the Soul. And in a hard-fought 4-game series where you thought maybe, just maybe, Sentinels could have pulled it back, LYON make it happen.
That's just a bit of team fight practice for LYON as they prepare to face C9 in the finals.
LYON marching on the Nexus. It's going to be a 3-1. It's going to be 9-2 run in the lower bracket to make it all the way to C9 to try to go to first stand. LYON are on a roll, and it's up to Cloud9 to stop them.
Dhokla with the bit of relief after that one. Game 4 got a little messy. Game 3, they fell as well, but the hyper carry Berserker was at it again. Spam chat now to tell who your player of the game is. Inspired wins his first career Mundo game. That scaling was ridiculous, and I'm very excited for finals tomorrow.
I mean, that fight was crazy. That series was crazy. It got very competitive towards the end.
That whole sequence at the end, it was like 5 minutes of non-stop action. We could never go to a replay for how slow the series began. It ended in such a frantic way.
I really want to see that final fight again because it looked to me like, you know, Saint had the stolen Magnet Storm and he popped in. I think he flashed into the wall trying to get into the middle of the team. So I thought, okay, the fight could be looking really, really bad here for them, but they were able to get in on Rahel. They were able to get in on DARKWINGS and take him down. And LYON did a great job playing out what seemed to be a difficult situation with very little to no engage, and are able to make it happen at the end of the day. Sentinels definitely made it work for it, though.